Welcome to the Dilli Dali podcast. I am S. Gopalakrishnan, and we know that the Bharat Jodo Yatra by the Congress leader Rahul Gandhi began on 7th of September 2022, aiming for 150 days of walk spanning almost 3,570 kilometers. And the Yatra has entered Rajasthan yesterday, and we have Sri TM Krishna, a great friend of mine and noted Carnatic musician, writer, activist, and Magsaysay Award winner, and many other things. He is with us, and he joined the Yatra at Indore 2 days back. And he's here to share the logic, the rationale, and the spirit, what made him to join this yatra. Welcome to Dilli Dali, TM Krishna.
Thank you, Gopal. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
What reason took you to Bharat Jodo Yatra?
So, right from the beginning, I have been following it. And I would have loved to participate right in the beginning in Tamil Nadu. They started, after all, in Kanyakumari.
Yes.
But unfortunately, I was not in the country for 2 months, so I was unable to join them. So I really wanted to. I think civil society members always have this conflict sometimes, right? Because the Bharat Jodo Yatra is fronted by the Congress party,
Yes.
by Mr. Rahul Gandhi himself. So civil society members who don't necessarily align particularly to any political party have this question: should we participate or not? And I think this was a discussion that I think a lot of civil society activists and members have had. We've had a lot of conversations about it. But I think what is very important is the texture of that entire yatra right from the beginning, not just now. That it was an invitation straight away for everybody to participate, not just civil society, other political parties. They also, wherever they could, participate in their ways. So I think the welcoming nature of this endeavor first is something I think that is completely fresh and new for Indian politics, at least in the recent past.
Yes.
Including Congress politics, by the way. That this is somewhere being placed as not being only about the Congress, but being about the idea of India, about the fact that we need to come together. And I think that's something nobody can argue with, irrespective of differences and nuances in perceptions and in how we think problems of India need to be solved, etc., etc., etc. I think the spirit behind it is truly admirable. And that's why I really felt it is a place where I should also just be part of it, even if it is for a day, if I could find time, go and walk. So I joined in just before they entered Rajasthan, actually about 3.5 hours away from Indore. Agar was the name of the place. And that's where I joined them for an afternoon. So I really believe this is, at least in recent Indian politics, a rare new welcome step where a political party and a political leader, Mr. Rahul Gandhi himself, are saying, let's all come together. And I think that's beautiful.
Yes, absolutely. And what I have noticed, people cutting across all zones of life, the people who have some sort of inclination for the secular fabric of the nation, they are mostly joining the yatra.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that is because because you feel that you're part of it. I mean, let me tell you my experience there. I think that probably will give you a glimpse of what it was. You're only seeing it on social media. As you know, mainstream media has done its best to ignore that such a important, beautiful movement is happening.
Absolutely.
And so all the news we get mainly is from social media. And we have been seeing photographs, we have been seeing comments by Mr. Rahul Gandhi himself, videos, etc., etc. But you really feel the texture of the yatra only when you go there. Yes, it is. We are a country where, stars are still important. Who can ever deny that? Of course, Mr. Rahul Gandhi is the center of attraction, and there is this yearning for people to even see him or touch him or be with him. That's, of course, there. But there is something beyond, and I think that was palpable. what was palpable was, first of all, the joy that was there. The joy to come together, to walk together. And these were not just Congress party workers. I think many people have said before, other than just Congress party workers, they were just common people who wanted to walk and say we are part of this exercise of reclaiming oneness. So reclaiming the diverse oneness, if I can put it that way. And I think the energy or the little conversations that I overheard, people who came and spoke to Rahul for a few minutes, and the things they were saying, they were talking about their lives and how they feel they want to live happily with their neighbors, or these small tidbits, I think said a lot to me about, and there were people cutting across religions. It was very obvious. There were Hindus, there were Muslims, there were everybody coming. There was old, there was young. There was this very old gentleman. He must be in his late 80s or 90s. He was with a big stick. And I can tell you, Gopal, he would have given you and me a run for money in terms of how fast he was walking. But the energy that was there in that man to walk. Why? He is past his prime, he's past his age, but he still walked, because I think everybody has found, the people there found meaning in this, and the act of walking is truly something that we need to recapture.
Absolutely.
Yes, everybody thinks it's not going by car. It's walking the streets.
Yes.
Whether it is Rahul Gandhi or whether it is TM Krishna, whether it's Gopalakrishnan, whether it is, anybody else, walking and feeling the environment, smelling the environment, taking the dust in, taking the happiness in, taking the sorrows in. I think walking does that. So when they say walk the talk, I think it's slightly different from yes. that very cliched understanding of it.
Yes.
I think walking is listening. That's what walking is.
Yes.
Is you see, you observe, you take in. And I think that itself is magical. Now, you can ask this cynical question. Will everything change tomorrow morning? Probably not going to change tomorrow morning. But why do we expect every act to have an immediate result? Like our social media need for likes. Why? It need not have a result tomorrow morning. But the fact that a group of, I think I was told that about 130 of them who are walking right through, from Kanyakumari to Srinagar, where they propose to finish. There are about 150 people who are constant yatris. And there are people coming and going. And there are people who come for a very short period like me, right? Now, this commitment to walk through India, in a way, it is also going back to Gandhi, isn't it? It is also going back to Gandhi, right? So I think there is something profoundly beautiful about reclaiming the road, reclaiming the street, and reclaiming the diversity in a manner where I have not heard any comments from the Yatra or from Mr. Rahul Gandhi himself that have been but about coming together, compassion, love, going beyond differences. And this positivity in political discourse is also most welcome.
So nicely you put the entire fascination and your experience. But I have seen 2-3 videos being circulated on social media, and you were talking something to Rahul Gandhi. What was that, if you can tell me?
Well, I mean, we had a very long conversation, actually, very long conversation. And I think what we primarily were discussing is, what are we reclaiming? What are we trying to reclaim? And I must say that it was very clear from what he was saying that he was trying to reclaim, he was saying that we need to reclaim the agency of the people. That the people they have their own agency. And what he was trying to say is that the recent politics in this country has taken people's agency away, made them passive receivers. Passive receivers of whatever is being offered to them, even condescendingly. So therefore, their active participation, both as physical beings, as emotional people, as intellectual people, has been systematically destroyed. And I think that's a very, very astute point, an important point. And he said, that's what we need. We need people, again, to participate and have the agency to say that we participate in democracy. We are part of that democracy. So I think some way of walking and moving and the energy and the love and the excitement is a way of telling people we all need to walk in some manner. And I think that was the crux of the discussion. I think there is one thing which is very, very important that has been recognized by Rahul and by this yatra, is that we need to understand and we need a cultural transformation in this country. That we need a culture of democracy, we need a culture of coexistence, we need a culture of empathy and compassion and love. And I think that is truly, in many ways, in the long distance, in the long run, an important way for political parties to think of politics beyond votes and vote catching. I'm not going into that game because I'm not interested in that game personally.
Absolutely.
I'm interested in the politics of people and us. And I think these were fairly, I'm just giving you an overarching idea of the conversations that we had. Yeah.
Okay. Now, when Rahul started his walking, you were in the US, and my impression about what is happening among the NRIs, whether it is in the US or UK or European countries or even the Gulf countries, there is, a major portion of the NRIs are moving towards the right-wing politics which India at the present has.
Yeah.
What was your experience? Though it is a slight deviation from this Bharat Jodo Yatra, but it has something to do with that. That is why I'm asking.
Yeah, it was my yatra in North America. So, unfortunately, always making like broad stroke comments can be problematic. I agree. But I think it is fair to say that a large portion of the North American NRI population do lean towards a BJP-esque RSS type view of India. Maybe something they've always carried with themselves. They've carried from India to that country. But we also must understand their demography to understand why it is like this. Who have had the cultural and social power to migrate? Generally, people with caste privilege, right? In general, exceptions and the minority of our people from other communities who have fought their way there, I'm keeping aside. So therefore, they are, the problem is also in India, right? We've talked about eradication of untouchability. We've talked about caste being, handled frontally and actively. We have put it out in our fundamental rights, etc., etc. But again, going back to something I said before, has there been a true cultural understanding of this? Has there been really a cultural transformation in you and me? I'll ask that question of myself. Am I truly a person who does not recognize, where my neural networks don't ring the bell of caste when I see somebody? I'll be lying to myself if I say that's not. Of course it is happening. Why is it happening? I was born in 1976, Gopal. I was born, 30 years after independence. My teenage was in the 80s and early 90s, late 80s, right? So by then, shouldn't my messaging been different in society? It was not. I was living in a silo. Even if there was no violence frontally that was being passed on to me, the inbuilt violence of social structures was within me, is within me. So how can we expect the NRI population to be any different?
Yes.
Therefore, along with caste comes religious bigotry. Both these things are inseparable, unfortunately. So it is fair to say that the large portion deny caste and a large portion do believe somehow that Hinduism is under threat. They are all masters of the WhatsApp university.
Yes. And
they all read, honestly, websites that are truly violent. I have no problems in people having debates about religion or people feeling strongly about their religion also. I think that is also fine. To some extent, some people may be very passionate about them, which is fine. And let's even put it this way. They may not even agree with something in another religion. Let us even put that there. Yeah. Even that is okay as long as a compassionate conversation is possible. What the right wings have done is they have made that impossible. So the only way you can be passionate about your religion is to hate somebody else's religion. And there are websites, there are WhatsApp forwards on an everyday basis, that do this. So it is worrisome. And now I can talk about it since I'm back in India. When I was in the States, one of my concerts was under threat. Not just one, actually many were, but one was very seriously threatened. We talked about it briefly when I was there. I mean, the kind of things that were said, the kind of WhatsApp forwards that went about me, you saw how toxic it was. And there was threat to the venue, there was threat to the organizer. All this happened. All this happened by most of them being, by the way, American citizens. Let's be very clear here. Right? So the atmosphere, the NRA atmosphere is worrisome. And a lot of money is coming from there too. I mean, let's look at the practical side of it. To the ecosystem, not just to a political party. Again, the money is not only going to a political party. The money is going to multiple, within quotes, cultural organizations, or what they call themselves, in order to further hatred, not further celebration of their own religion. No, that's a facade. It is to further hatred. And it's ironic that they quote some of the most deep thinkers within the Hindu religious, spiritual landscape in order to further violence. I mean, the sheer appropriation of that and the hate is shocking.
Now, few weeks back, I was talking to Professor Ashish Nanti, and he was telling the same thing which you mentioned. Some sort of an insecurity feeling is being injected into the majority community, and which is the most dangerous thing that can happen to a democracy. That is what he mentioned. Now, I am coming to the last portion of our conversation. We are getting back to Bharat Jodo Yatra. When Rahul was traveling in Kerala or in Tamil Nadu or even in Karnataka, even in Maharashtra, now there is a little change in his behavior. There comes the points which you mentioned, the issue of faith and liberal democracy in India. Now he goes to the temples and he does almost whatever the Prime Minister does these days. And, there, as you said, it's a very, very, very ticklish, very difficult situation where Rahul has to work with. Now, you are very keen observer of faith vis-a-vis liberal democracy. How do you see this particular pattern when the Yatra enters the northern belt?
So, I mean, I guess there's politics in it also. So, but keeping that aside, I want to address this issue of why are we making that an issue as people of this liberal constituency, right? Why are we making an issue? Why should we make it an issue? Let's say Rahul goes to a temple, does puja, etc., etc. Okay. Why is it a problem? It is only a problem if he does not go to a church tomorrow. It's only a problem if he does not go to a mosque. Right? Let him go to if he is going to be in the yatra, he is going to meet people of different faiths. Right? If he is going to go to masjid tomorrow and pray in the masjid, if he is going to a church tomorrow, pray in the church, he goes to a temple and prays. Why do we almost recoil when we see a person within quotes of the liberal fraternity going to a temple? Why should we recoil? I mean, that is what I will question. Right? Again, I said the politics of it I'm keeping aside because I think this is a moment, this is a good way for us to introspect. Because let's see what we are doing. There are many people of various faiths, not just Hindu, who believe deeply in their faith. Are we saying that the only way we can we can have a conversation with them is to negate that is even present in their life, or to negate that passionate love for their God is irrelevant to our discourse. Isn't that very bluntly put stupidity at one point?
Yes.
And it is also hypocrisy. It is utter hypocrisy. Because most of us who are saying this come from an already established position. You want to call it rationality, you want to call it atheism, call it what you want, agnostic, whatever it is. No, that is something you are subscribing to as an ideology. And you're also saying that is superior. Who are we to make that judgment?
Absolutely.
Who are we to make that judgment? And that has been the downfall of the liberal left.
You're right.
We are willing to say, oh, we will look at it culturally, but we will not religiously. I mean, you go to a village,
yes.
Speak to the person who goes out in the morning, he prays and goes. Is he culturally Hindu? Is he religiously Hindu? Is he culturally Muslim? What is this? This is just intellectual mumbo jumbo, very bluntly put. We feel superior in making these arguments.
Yes.
But it is completely hollow. It's hollow. So I don't have, my response is not immediately saying, no, why should you go and do this? My response is not like that.
Yes.
My response will be, if I see him, I need to see him embrace all the faiths. That would be my response. That is fine. Whether it's Parsi.
I hope he will be doing, because he visited churches when he was walking in Kerala.
Yeah, and I know he also met a lot of leaders of various faiths even in the south. Yeah, he did. So, by the way, for that, the Yatra was also criticized in the south, by the way. They were criticized for that also. So, It works both ways, right, as far as politics goes. Yes. But I think, I would not immediately say why. I will say, no, it's fine. I'm okay with it. That's what I will say.
Absolutely. Now, thank you for your time. I know, you are one of the busiest musicians we have. At the same time, you do a lot of other things. Thank you for giving these 30 minutes to Dilli Dali. And we all hope that today or tomorrow, this Bharat Jodo Yatra will translate into meaningful conclusions and for strengthening our fabric.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And I also think that every one of us, by the way, in our own ways can do walks.
Yes.
In our little gullies.
Yes.
Why don't we all say that around our streets, every month we will spend 2 hours just walking?
Yes.
And talking to people. And I think that's the way we need to strengthen our democracy. So I think this is a great step. And I really think that I do hope that there is a way to move this ahead. That's what I hope.
Okay. And I am thanking you for on behalf of all the listeners of Dilli Dali. Thank you. Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Thanks a ton.